Hi, Norman Notes here. This is what we do when we don't have any friends. Now, today I'm going to be changing the hammer shaft on a hammer that I picked up. I'll show you the hammer, and I do apologise it's a bit dark because I'm still kind of doing my workshop and I've not got the lights and stuff yet. So there is the hammer. Picked it up the other week there. It had been buried for some considerable time and the shaft is in quite a poor state. So as I say, I bought another hickory shaft with the two wedges. Now this is one that I did previously and I never actually put it up to YouTube. I don't know why. I didn't even film it. This was a hammer that I had for some considerable time. I think I got it when I was coaching soccer for putting pegs and stuff in, and I had an old wooden shaft, and when I tried to pull out a nail it broke, so I decided to put another shaft on, but I never filmed it. I don't know why, but as you can see, this hammer here has got quite a sweeping hook on here. Now that shows, I believe, that it is an old style hammer, because the new ones don't have that. They're not as hasn't got so much sweep as that. Now I think this is probably maybe about 16 or maybe even a 20 ounce hammer, but with a wooden shaft obviously. Now what I did was, and I've got a bit of a sheen happening on there, I hit it with the sanding disc that was on my angle grinder, one of them, and I wire brushed it first on my drill, so I'm going to wait to do all of that kind of stuff next to that. But I hit this one, which is, you know, one of the ones I've had in my toolbox and used for a while. This is probably a 24 inch, and I hit that with the sanding wheel on there, but it just left some grooves in it, so I'm not really sure if I'm going to do that. This is an S-Wing. This is my go-to hammer. I quite like the feel of this, and but I've taped it up because the leather stripes on here has kind of gone, and I've got a stupid magnet on the end, which I'm probably going to take that off. But and I hit this one here that I'm talking about with the rag, and I buffed that up to get a bit of a sheen on it, sheen happening. So this one here, as you can see, is in a bit of a poor state. So I've wire brushed it. See the wire brush there, and I hit all the wire brush with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit it with the wire wheel and get that all happening. I don't have to tape this because this is going to be changed out. So it's in pretty good condition, to be fair. When I put some WD-40 on, I don't know why, just to give it a bit of a clean. So as you can see at this side, just this side here, that is really, really bad. But the guy said to me when I picked it up that it had been buried. When the bobcat went through, it threw up some stuff, and this was one of the things it threw up. So I went, can I have this? Yes, I can. So I'm just going to show you what can be done. Okay, I'm going to get my earmuffs on, glasses, safety first, and hit it with the wire wheel, and then we'll see how much rust is involved. It seems pretty rusty. It's quite pitted. This is actually gelled. It's got the gel in there, so that's got gel. So it's been you know, quite a good hammer in its day, but when you feel it, it's quite a little bit pitted, but it's got a nice shape around it. So I'll get right back to you. Now what I've done, I might have to take it to the door to show you, is I've hit it with the wire brush on the drill, and also hit it with the grinder with the sandpaper on it. Now there is still a lot of pits in there. Still, but the handle, that's the condition of the handle. As you can see, I think the end of it has been eaten by termites, but it's certainly a poor state. Well, I might have to I might cut the handle off now and give it a bit more. It's a lot better than what it was. As you can see, it's very pretty there. Spent a lot of time, still a lot of pits on that bit there. I'll try to chew that up anyway if I spend some more time on that. It's doing a bit of hair work, but it was certainly very pitted. So that's what stage I'm at with it at the moment. So let's say I'm going to spend another 20 minutes just trying to get the rusty bits out. I'll maybe never get them out, to be fair, but I suppose if I was to give it a coat of coconut oil and stuff, it's just a refurbishment kind of project. It's not getting it back into the toolkit. It's just going to probably sit about on the bench and I'll use it from time to time. It's just nice to have, see what can be done. I've seen ones on YouTube and they get them back looking absolutely fantastic, but this is not fantastic. Anyway, I'll maybe cut the shaft off because it's in a poor state, absolute poor state, and I'll get back to you. So hit it with some more grinding wheel and the sandpaper from the angle grinder. And it probably still needs a little bit of work, but boy, it's a lot better than what it was, but it still needs a bit of work. Just get rid of that pitted bit there. Obviously I've cut the shaft off, it's quite awkward to get like in here. I'm going to hit this with the wheel. It's looking not bad. It's a lot better than what it was, considering it was probably been in the ground for quite a considerable amount of years. Yeah, I think I'll hit that bit up here with the sandpaper, and then I'll drill out this. See. So this is a follow-on from yesterday. This is the next day. I'm just sitting having a cup of coffee. And I did some more sanding of the hammer. There was a few bits that was still not ideal. We've got a light here because there was a bit of lack of light yesterday. But I've tried when I'm sanding to keep the contours of the hammer, because it's very easy to sand it all away, you know. But there's still bits that are still, you know, pitted. It's a lot better than what it was for sure. You know, as you can see, I got carried away with the sand just up this corner here, just there. So I tried to keep all the corners so there were all the ridges, but I've got rid of a lot, let's say, in that bit there. I don't know if you can see it. It's still a quite pitted with rust, but it was in a fairly poor state as you saw originally. But I'm reasonably happy with the way it's come out, or it's coming out. Now I've got my cutting compound here, and my large disc is on the drill. So I always kind of go with this one, which is the general purpose cutting compound. You know, it's a cut and a polish. Whereas this one here, the black one, is predominantly cutting. So I've never actually used that one. And then this one here is for polishing, a polishing compound. So I've used that a few times. In fact, I think I used it on that other hammer, to be fair. A few other things. So I always kind of go with this one. I probably should maybe go with a cut to give it a bit. I'm not sure. I'll maybe just go straight to this one and see how we go. Now, talking about the shaft, just quickly. I'm not at the shaft kind of yet, but what I've done is I've given it quite a little bit of a measure. So I just like measured it like so, how far it's going through. Obviously you don't want to go past this, because that's the the retaining bit to stop it from sliding right down the shaft. Obviously I'm going to be kind of further up, but I think there's lots of ways that people do it. I just, because I've got sander on my angle grinder, I'll just, like, you know, a lot of people mark the ends, and you know, are a bit precise about things. I'm the opposite, providing I'm not shaving one side more than the other side, should be good to go. And then top to bottom, you keep it all sort of the same kind of continuity, and before you obviously start popping it in, but we'll come to that. But I might just give it a little bit of a sand when I'll do the cotton compound first, just to give it a bit of a buff. But I might not get it shiny as the other one, but like I say, it's a bit of a bench hammer. I'll have to get that like trued up, might true that up later. It's just sanded ever so slightly at the bottom, but that was really, the bottom was quite badly pitted. It's not actually bad now, it's nice and smooth to be fair, but it's I think we may have lost the straightness of the thing. I think there's ever so slightly more off here than there is, but you can still see I spent ages on that, and it's still needs a bit of work. But like I say, it's going to be the joy of doing it, and you know, it's going to lie about the bench, probably be the other one, and just be a general bench kind of hammer that's at hand, pick it up and use it. Now there's the rain on again. I do apologise about the it's usually a lot lighter in here normally, but I'm still doing up the workshop. I'm doing a video on the workshop. You know, I'm pretty close pulling wires, but well, that'll be in another video. Anyway, we'll give this a buff with the other buffer, the other buff with the brown one, and then we will go at the shaft, and we'll get it fitted today, and that'll be a new hammer for the bench. I know the bench is in a bit of a mess, but there's a lot of things happening. Do a video on that later. As you can see, it's just like I say, I'm pulling cables for speakers and stuff, but we'll do another video on that. We've got the plugs all run in, but let's see. Anyway, that's another video. We'll concentrate on this beautiful little hammer. So here we are. I've given this a bit of a polish with the cutting compound. It probably needs a little bit more. I've hit it with some WD-40 to tidy it up. Try to get it a bit more polished. I think I'm going to struggle, to be fair. What I'll do later on is heat up some coconut oil and give it a little coat. I mean, it's as I said, it's probably pretty bad. I've shaved around here, or sanded around there, just to give it a bit of a shine on the bottom, which I forgot. Let's say I try to polish all this pitted in here. I'm struggling, but it's not too bad. Like I say, I'm bringing it back from the dead, really. That's what I'm doing here. So anyway, gave the shaft a bit of a sand with the angle grinder. You don't have to do it with the angle grinder, you can do it with a saw, or I've put them on with saws in the past. So I just kind of measured. There's your lathe lines as a guide. You see that, lathe lines on the bottom there, just as a guide. So, and then you just kind of line it up. I do side to side first, and then I do the top to bottom the opposite way, do that way, and then to finish I just ever so slightly take a bit off the side or a bit off the top bottom, probably the top bottom, so that you can put your hammer on like straight, but it's not angled. You can just give it a bit of a kick, then hit it in to be true. So that's where we're at now. So I'll finish that, the side to side, and then top to bottom, and then we'll measure it through, and then never forget to do the hacksaw through there before you put the hammer in. And that's if you're putting wedges in. I always make a cut in here. I never put them in without that, because I'm afraid of it totally splitting, and I don't want that to happen after I mean, this hickory handle cost $10 from a local hardware store. Anyway, we'll get that. Now what I've done here is I've shaved the shaft down. Now it's just going in there and no more, and I've put a mark on it. But you've got to take into consideration that when you put the shaft, the hammer onto the shaft, it's going to sit way up here. So you need to, I'll get rid of that because I'm doing this one-handed, just put that like that. That's approximately where it's going to go, to this line. Then you mark here where the end of the hammer is going to be, end of the shaft, because you're going to cut that off effectively. Then you're going to have to take into consideration you're putting on these wedges. Now those wedges are, I think, about 23 mil, so you need to hacksaw in, or I use a junior hacksaw, wherever I've put that junior hacksaw, into the end here. Now you can either do it straight. If there's two of them, I like to put them ever so slightly in a diagonal, parallel to each other. I just think it looks a bit better. You don't have to. But like I say, what I'll do now is, because that really is starting about there, so I've got to shave this down slightly until that goes in to there, you know, because this, all of that bit there, which I've marked, is going to be cut off. So you don't want to be starting tight here, you want to be starting tight there after the bit that you're going to be cutting off, so that it's going to all be tight. Like I say, it's going to wedge up against here, probably, you know, about approximately. I'm gonna maybe just take a little bit off here and off the other side, off here, because it's going to tighten up against here. It's going to wedge up against there, and then your wedges, this will tighten up the bottom, and your wedges will tighten up the top. Right, then what I normally do, if there's an epoxy resin, I then coat the end of that, and that tends to keep it as well, because there was epoxy resin. So, and then when you do all that and you're ready to pop it in, make sure you sand. I normally sand this hammer shaft before I actually pop it in, and you can do it after if you wanted. So you've got to get rid of the bit where the label was. But anyway, let's just do that first, and then we'll get back to you. So what I've done here is I have wedged it. Now you won't see in there, but two thin hacksaw lines, because I've got double wedges. Then I'm just knocking it on, not hammering there, not that. You hammer the shaft, you knock the shaft, hold it up, knock the shaft, and that just pounds it in. So, but what you've got to watch is that it is, in effect, right angles to your head is right angles to the shaft. Like that one is truly absolutely perfect. I was very, very, very happy with that. So you've just got to, and that one is maybe ever so slightly up, so you just got to knock the head down, make sure it's nice and straight, and give it about 4 or 5 hits on the end of the shaft. Make sure you hit the shaft, the end of the shaft through, because you've got a little bit of a problem. If you hit it, it might split the timber. So that is where we're at now. And I might just true it up and knock it straight in, and it'll wedge, like I say, it'll wedge to here, it'll wedge to there, and then the wedges will wedge out the top. Okay, so here we are. That is that. Now it looks, I'm very, very happy with that. It looks true. Now what you've got here is a couple of you know, timber being ruffled up by just the wedge of going in, and you're going to know when it comes to the end because the tone will be completely different. Now you see what I mean by this standing up, so I'm going to like probably might just run the hacksaw across the top there to thing, and then with those two marks I'm going to like pop in the wedges, and that'll look absolutely fantastic. And then get a punch. I don't have a punch on the bench, I've got a punch in the other shed, so I'll get a punch and I'll just punch them in so that they're under, because they've got to sit about, you know, got to sit there, well there, they've got to sit under the head of the shaft. And like I said, I'm going to cut it off, but boy, that looks great. So in comparison to the other one, you know, that looks pretty good. I'm very, very happy with that. It's nice and straight. Obviously this one varnished that to make it look good. And just something on that, you might not see that. There was no markings on the other ones. Now I think that's a FALCES. I don't know if that's a 20, could be a £20 hammer. 20, yeah, that would probably be, would it? Anyway, there was nothing. This seems way lighter than this. This seems like it's a 16 for sure. It's maybe even less than that. I'll maybe have to weigh it. But there was no markings on the side of the hammer at all. Normally it tells you who, you know, manufactured the hammer. I think it'd been a good hammer on its day, because like I say, the end was all gelled up and there was no wedges. I would probably, and you might differ with me, say that that's probably a better hammer, because it's been fitted better. But by June, that's perfect. So I've sanded the shaft. I'll trim up around here. I might just bang it in just another couple of hits, then I'll cut that off, cut the top off, that bit there, pop in the wedges, and let's say eventually I'll varnish the end, because I don't want, it's better to varnish it sooner rather than later, because if you're using it, if you've got dirty hands, you're impregnated with dirt. So I'd rather, which I did with this one, is I mixed some varnish with some turps and sealed it. I should have probably done that, because obviously I've taken that off, because I had the ruffled bits like this, you know. But you just cut them off with a craft knife, just right across, and I'll tell you, that's not going anywhere. I'm very happy. You pop the wedges in and it's going to be tight for life. Beautiful. Right, we'll do that and then we'll get back to you. Nice and easy. Very happy with that. Like I say, good old bench hammer, bringing it back to life. Easy. So, there is the finished article. So what I did was I cut it off with a hacksaw, because I had the hacksaw there, popped into wedges. The wedges were, I would say, almost flush, and then I tidied it up by the timber and the wedges by just giving it a sand, and it's flush, and it's kind of put a bit of a shine on the wedges, which makes it look really good. So that is fitting the hammer shaft to an old poor hammer that has been resurrected. It probably would have landed in a skip, or it may never have recovered. If the bobcat didn't skim across the earth where we were, and it popped out, it would have still been there. Let's say, bit of a poor sorry state that's in, but I'm very happy with that. You know, let's say it's a bit of a light one, 16 ounce probably, and fitted the hammer shaft. Need to give it a little bit of a varnish before I kind of use it. Like I say, what I'll do now is I'll heat up some coconut oil and I'll give it all a good kind of rub. I probably don't need to put epoxy in the top there, because it's just tightened it all up. Beautiful. That's the hammer shaft. Thank you very much for watching.